decided to finally record and write out and film some cinematics for a complete video that I'm going to finish and actually post. Haven't done that in a while. And it's all because of this iPhone 13 Pro Max. Now, do I think it's good? Do I think it's worth the upgrade? That's what I'm gonna be talking about in this video. Let's roll the little intro. I don't even know if I have a cinematic intro I can use. So I ended up basically getting this phone about 2 weeks ago. Before that, I was using the Pixel 3 XL. So you can say that was a pretty good upgrade considerably. Just flat out phone to phone. Obviously this phone is better than this phone, right? The camera is better, the operating system is better, it's newer, it's cleaner, it just feels newer to use, and it's more efficient in a way. But as a whole, right, I have found multiple things that I ended up not liking about the iPhone 13 Pro Max and about iOS in general. I even ended up making a list, and honestly, I'm gonna be talking about those points here. So the first thing, right, is the actual assistant. I've talked to multiple people who have used iPhones for a long time, and typically they honestly don't use Siri. Sometimes I've seen certain people have just turned off Siri completely. They just don't use it regularly. That was a big no-no for me, just because like I used to use Google Assistant all the time. I'll give you a little example of what I mean by Siri is dumb. If you tried asking Siri, which I ended up doing like the second day I had her, if you ask her something like, what are the best deodorants to use at the gym, she's not going to understand your question. On the other hand though, if you do end up asking Google Assistant that, Google Assistant has access to the Google search engine. Like, what else could you need if you have a question, you know? It ends up being way more practical and way more efficient to use this assistant. The task managing things this assistant can do and the questions this one can answer is a whole nother world of incredible compared to Siri. Now don't get me wrong, I'm sure Siri can do a bunch of handy things that I haven't tried out yet, but honestly, I don't usually even use Google Assistant for task managing. Sometimes I'll be like, okay, Google, skip the song. Okay, Google, just listen to me right now. Yeah, I'll tell her simple things like that, and I'm sure Siri can handle things of that like caliber, but she should be able to just search something up and answer it to me too. What are the best deodorants for the gym? What are the best deodorants for the gym?
Here are some results.
And that's one thing that honestly turns me off about this phone, considering that it is a $1,100 phone. Another thing that makes me not want to vouch for this phone, but also vouch for it, is the Face ID. Now, coming from a phone that's about 3 years old already, the time I spent with this phone made me really appreciate the fingerprint sensor. And of course, this one doesn't have it. It mainly operates on the Face ID, which works if I'm at home, works if I'm outside, works if I'm at the gym without my mask, but it doesn't work if it's really dark or if I'm at work with a mask on, which is all the time if I'm using this phone to go to my Best Buy app to search something up. So I'm always like waiting for it to go through the little Face ID screen so that then I could just enter my PIN. And if I ended up not having access to the fingerprint or stops working on here for a second for some reason, like let's say I have something on my finger, I can just swipe up and then have access to the PIN. You can't access the PIN here until the Face ID takes like 20 seconds to be like, oh yeah, I can't recognize your face. It's pretty inefficient. The next thing is cameras. And of course, right, 13 Pro Max to 3 XL, definitely an upgrade. Camera on this one is nuts compared to this one. Like, stability is great, pictures are always coming out great, and videos, especially in like low light situations, are always really good, and like I'm really surprised by it. Then again, the competitor to this phone that I was looking at also, the Pixel 6 Pro, also has an outstanding camera. Now of course I'm not gonna say that the video is as good as the iPhone 13 Pros, but the telephoto lens and the regular camera are very considerable for me. Coming from the Pixel 3 XL, it's seeming very appealing to just get a 6 Pro because I'm already used to the processing that the camera has. Even though it is a different lens set and like the hardware is different from the 3 XL to the 6 Pro. Now of course these aren't like no-brainers for everyone. If someone does come from like a iPhone 8, then they are going to be more used to the Face ID, the fingerprint scanner, Siri, the processing that the camera has, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Of course, overall, I am more satisfied with this camera than I am with this one, but I'm still looking at the 6 Pro. I'm looking at you, 6 Pro. I might get you. Maybe not. I might return you for this one. It's like that one photo of the... I'll just put the photo here. It's literally this situation right now. Me having this, but I'm just like... The 6 Pro. Ooh, so that's literally me right now. Next little thing, right, that I noticed was the clock or the alarm system on the 6. Right, I'm not sure if it's just specifically to Android. It might just be specifically to the Pixels. But like, if you set up an alarm, it tells you how much time until that alarm goes off. And I didn't realize how much I used that little detail up until I started using this. If you try setting up an alarm, it just turns it on. Nothing else. If you try asking Siri how much time until that alarm, or like how much time until like 8 a.m., it rounds it. It's not as nice or as convenient as it is on here, because a lot of times it'll be like 12 o'clock, I'll be playing video games, I'll check my alarm and I'll just turn on my alarm to see how much time left I have. I'm like, alright, I only have 30 minutes left, so I should probably go to bed now. And there you go. I'm not really someone that goes off of schedule, so usually something telling me that I have to go to bed soon is more convenient for me. That's Google, man. Some people might not really care about that feature though. It's something that bothers me just because I use it all the time. Next one is the notification center. I've realized the purpose of this one, right? But notifications on the Pixel, right? If you get a Instagram text message, per se, it'll appear on the top, like any other notification. You don't have to click the notification itself, but if you end up entering Instagram, that notification will disappear because it'll assume, all right, you've entered Instagram, you've seen who has messaged you or whatever notification has happened because you entered the app. That doesn't happen on the iPhone 13 Pro. If you get a message and a notification and you end up going to Instagram, that notification won't be new anymore, but it'll stay in the notification center. Yeah, I kind of didn't like that at first, but then I realized it also did help me keep track of messages that I wouldn't reply to, which is convenient in some ways, so pretty sure it's helpful for me because it ends up helping me message people, but maybe I don't want to message them. One of the last things, it's like, I'm so surprised by it. It literally baffled me when I found out about this feature. Well, not necessarily found out about it, but found out that the iPhone doesn't have this feature. Minimizing YouTube videos while doing something else. So, right, if I'm playing a YouTube video and I end up playing a YouTube video here, of course they can both play the YouTube video. But, yeah, if I'm on the YouTube app watching a video, I press home, I can go into another app and watch the video at the same time. I also did not realize how often I used that up until I couldn't do that on the iPhone 13. If you try opening an app and then press like swiping up to go home, it'll just close out the app. If you try opening up another app while you're using YouTube, it's just gonna close it out. There's no way for you to watch a video and send a text at the same time, except if you're replying to the text up above, which I don't like to do it. So I've never used that feature because I don't know, I just don't. It's weird. But yeah, I think those are like most of the reasons that I do not enjoy this phone. Overall, it's a good phone. I can see the Apple price tag though, and throughout the 2 weeks that I've used it, which isn't very much, I don't think it's convinced me. I don't know. There is definitely something seamless, or even you could say simple, about the environment of Apple. You can have seamless interaction between like your Apple Watch, your MacBook, your iMac, your iPad, and your iPhone all at the same time. But you don't reap that benefit of that environment if you only have the phone. And so, I don't know. I don't think this has convinced me enough to enter the Apple environment. Just because on its own, it doesn't feel like a smartphone. It feels like an iPhone. After using the 3XL for a while and hearing a lot about the 6 Pro and seeing videos and reviews, I can't help but to think that the 6 Pro truly feels like a smartphone. And I don't know about you, but I kind of want a smartphone instead of just an iPhone. Why do I sound like I'm like top dog reviewing shit right now? I think I'm gonna end up returning this phone and gonna end up switching to the Pixel 6 Pro. Don't know when I'm gonna do it, but one thing I can say though is that I would not be able to find any beautiful cases that this one could get that the 6 Pro can get. This one's just way more popular. Any case you can find for the Pixel 6, you can probably find for the iPhone. But what can you do? I sacrificed that a long time ago. Bit of a different video from what I usually do. Onto a tangent a little bit from the topic of the video. Did want to talk a little bit about myself. It has truly been a while since I've talked in depth into like this camera and posted it on YouTube. There's a lot going on in here, but not a lot out here. Life has calmed down for me, and I've managed to take a good amount of time to myself to like think things over and to understand things. And I think understanding is like the best thing that I can do right now. Understanding and searching for questions. Because you can't find answers if you don't have the questions. And I don't know. I feel like I just recently finally got over like a big hurdle, like emotionally and mentally. And I feel like gonna start making some positive changes for the aspect of my life that is involved only with myself. So like school, for example. I feel like I've already improved multiple aspects with friends and with family. And although in some aspects there I'm still lacking, I've improved them and I'm happy about it. I still lack in the fitness department, hobbies department, and in like the school department, which is fine. You know, it's not the end of the world, but I will definitely be improving those within the year to come. My communication skills have improved again. I will admit that at some point, it just became difficult to have a conversation with someone, and I don't know why. But I've managed to hop out of that. It's gotten better. I've been talking to girls a little bit. I've seen that my interest in girls have finally improved again. No, I've been eyeing a few, talking to a few. Just a little bit of that jazz. But yeah, that's everything I wanted to talk about. I don't know when you'll see another YouTube video of mine, if I'm ever gonna post one soon. I will focus on it. I will look at it. I will investigate. I will ponder. I will manifest. And I will create. I'll see you guys in the next video. I always end up redoing it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.